For 7 months, every single night at exactly 2 in the morning, my husband stood beside my bed in the dark. He never touched me. He never called my name. He only stood there, close enough that I could feel his presence, close enough that my body knew before my mind did not at first. I thought it was my imagination. Sleep can play tricks on you, especially when life feels heavy. Welcome to Auntie Rose Narrates. Before today's story of betrayal and self-discovery, please subscribe and hit like to help these stories be heard. Drop your city or country in the comments. It always warms my heart. Now let's begin. I told myself maybe he could not sleep. Maybe he was worried about something. Maybe he was just checking if I was okay. I chose comfort over truth because truth felt too dangerous. My name is Angela Brown. I am an African woman, 46 years old, with a quiet life and a simple heart. For 15 years, I believed I was married to a kind man named Marcus Brown, a man who spoke gently and smiled softly. He was the kind of husband people trusted without question, and so did I. Every night. When the clock reached 2, I would wake just enough to feel him there. The room would be silent except for the ceiling fan and my own breathing. I kept my eyes closed, pretending to sleep, while my heart beat louder than it should have. Fear does not always come with noise. Sometimes it arrives wrapped in silence. As the nights passed, the feeling grew heavier. He never moved around the room. He never sat down or leaned closer. He only stood as if watching over something fragile, something that might disappear if he blinked. I wanted to turn over and ask him why. I wanted to say his name and break the strange spell that filled our bedroom every night. But something deep inside me said, "Do not move. Do not speak." That quiet warning kept me still. 7 months is a long time to live with unanswered questions. It is long enough for doubt to grow roots in your heart. By the 7th month, I knew I could not pretend anymore. I needed to know why the man I trusted was standing over me in the dark like a stranger. That night, I made a choice that changed my life forever. When I felt him beside the bed, I slowed my breathing and stayed completely still. I pretended to be asleep, even when fear tightened my chest. That was the night I heard his whisper. His voice was soft, almost tender. He was not speaking to me. He was speaking to someone who was not there. The words he said were calm, careful, and terrifying in their meaning. I did not open my eyes. I did not move a muscle. But in that moment, I understood that some discoveries do not scream when they arrive. They settle quietly into your soul and destroy everything you thought was safe. I believed silence was a sign of peace. I believed calm meant safety. Those beliefs came from the way I was raised and the life I worked so carefully to build. I was born into a modest family where love was shown through responsibility, not words. My parents were not rich, but they were steady. My father left home before sunrise and returned after sunset, tired but present. My mother filled the house with warmth, cooking meals that brought everyone to the table and teaching us that respect kept a family together. As the eldest daughter, I learned early how to take care of others. I watched my younger siblings, helped with chores, and learned how to read a room without anyone speaking. I learned to sense moods and adjust myself to keep peace. That habit followed me into adulthood and shaped the kind of wife I became. By the time I met Marcus Brown, I was 29 years old and ready for a quiet life. I did not dream of luxury or excitement. I wanted stability. Marcus seemed like the answer to every prayer I never spoke out loud. He was calm, polite, and careful with his words. He never rushed decisions or raised his voice. Marcus was also African, raised in a disciplined household where emotions were kept private. He spoke little about his childhood, but when he did, it was with respect and distance. I mistook that distance for maturity. I admired his control and believed it meant reliability. We dated gently, without drama. He listened when I spoke and remembered small details about me. That made me feel important. When he asked me to marry him, it felt like a natural next step, not a risk. I said yes without fear. Our wedding was simple and warm. Family surrounded us, food was shared, and promises were spoken quietly. I remember looking at Marcus and believing I was stepping into a life built on trust and steadiness. I believed love did not need to be loud to be real. Marriage settled into routine quickly. Marcus worked long hours, and I balanced my job with caring for our home. We rarely argued. When disagreements came, they dissolved without leaving marks. That peace made me proud of our marriage. Children never came into our life, even though I quietly hoped they would. We spoke about it carefully, never blaming each other. Marcus always told me our life was complete as it was. I wanted to believe him, even when my heart felt a small, private ache. Our home reflected who we were. Clean, quiet, orderly. Family photographs lined the walls. The kitchen smelled like comfort. The bedroom felt like a place where nothing harmful could reach me. I believed that room held only rest and trust. Marcus never controlled me. He never checked where I went or who I spoke to. That freedom strengthened my trust. I believed a good man did not need to watch his wife. About a year before the nights began, something shifted. Marcus became quieter. He spent more time alone, staring at nothing. He slept less. When I asked him if something was wrong, he smiled gently and told me he was just tired. I accepted his answers without pressing further. That is what I had been taught to do: keep peace, avoid confrontation, trust the people you love. Then the nights began. The first time I felt Marcus standing beside the bed, I told myself I was dreaming. The second time, I convinced myself it was harmless. By the third week, I knew it was real, but I still said nothing. I believed asking questions might break something fragile between us. Lived inside trust for 15 years without knowing it could turn into blindness. Every night at 2 a.m, while I pretended to sleep, I felt my marriage changing in the dark, and I did not yet know that the silence I was protecting was preparing to tell me a truth I would never be able to forget. The whispers had not started yet, but the distance between us was growing, and soon that silence would begin to speak. After the nights began, my days changed in ways I could not explain to anyone. Though nothing looked different from the outside, everything inside me was slowly shifting. Fear does not always announce itself. Sometimes it settles quietly and waits. Each morning, I woke up before Marcus. I watched his face while he slept, trying to recognize the man I had married. His expression was calm, almost peaceful. There was nothing threatening about him in daylight. That made the nights feel even more confusing. I would lie there, listening to his breathing, wondering how the same man who stood beside my bed in the dark could look so ordinary in the morning. I questioned my own mind more than I questioned him. I wondered if I was imagining things. I wondered if fear had found a way to trick me. Marcus never mentioned the nights. Not once. He never asked if I slept well. He never explained why he woke up at 2. His silence felt deliberate, even if I did not want to admit it. Yet our mornings stayed the same. Breakfast at the table, light conversation, polite smiles. He kissed my cheek before leaving for work, just like he always had. That familiarity made me feel guilty for doubting him. Still, my body remembered the nights. My shoulders stayed tense throughout the day. Small noises startled me. I found myself watching the clock more often than I ever had before, especially as night approached. Evenings became difficult. As the sky darkened, my chest tightened. I cooked dinner while listening carefully to Marcus's movements in the house. I noticed how quietly he walked, how carefully he closed doors. Things I had never paid attention to before now felt important. Sometimes I tried to talk. Not directly, just gently. "You seem tired lately," I would say. Marcus would smile softly and nod. Work has been busy. His answers were always calm. Too calm. There was no irritation, no defensiveness. Just polite distance. We sat together in the living room like strangers sharing space. The television stayed on, but neither of us really watched it. Silence stretched between us, heavy and unspoken. At night, I pretended everything was normal. I changed into my sleep clothes. I brushed my teeth. I lay down beside him like I had for 15 years. But sleep no longer came easily. Every night, I woke just before 2. My body learned the pattern before my mind did. I would lie still, counting my breaths, waiting. And then I would feel him stand up. The sound of the mattress shifting became familiar. His footsteps were quiet, careful. He always stood on the same side of the bed, close to my face. I could feel the warmth of his body. I could sense his eyes on me. He never touched me. That was somehow worse. I wanted to scream. I wanted to run, but fear held me still. I told myself if I stayed quiet, nothing bad would happen. Survival sometimes disguises itself as patience. Some nights, he stood there for minutes. Other nights, longer. I never opened my eyes. I never moved. I let him believe I was asleep. After he returned to bed, I lay awake until morning, staring into darkness that felt alive. Days blurred together. My appetite faded. Food tasted flat. I lost weight without trying. Friends noticed I was quieter, but I brushed off their concerns. I did not know how to explain something I barely understood myself. I began to doubt my own instincts. I asked myself if I was being dramatic. Marcus had never hurt me. He had never raised his voice. What reason did I have to fear him? But fear does not need permission. One evening, while washing dishes, I noticed Marcus standing in the doorway, watching me. The way he stood reminded me of the nights, still, silent, observing. Is everything okay? I asked, forcing my voice to stay steady. He smiled and nodded. Just thinking. That smile followed me all night. I started locking the bathroom door when I showered. I started sleeping lighter. I started hiding my fear behind routine. These were not choices I made consciously. My body made them for me. I thought about telling someone, my sister, a close friend, but the words felt impossible. How do you explain something that sounds harmless but feels terrifying? He stands by my bed and watches me. Did not sound like enough. Weeks passed like this. The tension very slowly, like water filling a glass. I knew it would spill eventually. I just did not know how. Then, one night, something changed. Marcus did not return to bed right away. He stood there longer than usual. My heart pounded so loudly I was sure he could hear it. I focused on keeping my breathing slow, even thick. And then I heard his breath change. It became uneven, emotional, like someone holding back words. Told myself to stay still. Whatever was coming, I needed to hear it. But that night, he said nothing. He only sighed deeply and returned to bed. That silence frightened me more than words would have. From that night on, the air between us felt heavier. Marcus became more withdrawn. He barely spoke in the evenings. His eyes looked tired in a way I had never seen before. I started having dreams where I could not move, where someone stood over me whispering words I could not understand. I woke up shaking, my heart racing. Still, I said nothing. I spent months living between fear and denial, telling myself love meant endurance. The 7th month arrived quietly. By then, I knew something was coming. My instincts were screaming, even if my voice stayed silent. That night, when I felt Marcus stand beside the bed, something inside me shifted. Fear gave way to determination. I needed answers. Even if they destroyed me, I slowed my breathing. I relaxed my body completely. I pretended to be deeply asleep. That was the night. He finally spoke. His voice was low, soft, almost tender. He whispered words meant for someone who was not there. And in that moment, the glass finally shattered. I stayed perfectly still as his whisper filled the dark, because I already knew that once I understood what he was saying, my life would never return to what it had been. That night, when Marcus stood beside the bed, the room felt different. I can still remember the air felt heavy, like it was holding its breath. I had prepared myself to listen, even though I did not know what I was about to hear. I kept my eyes closed. I slowed my breathing the way I had practiced in my mind so many times before. I let my body sink into the mattress, pretending to be lost in sleep. Inside, my heart was beating so hard, I was afraid it would give me away. Marcus did not move right away. He stood there longer than usual. I could feel the warmth of his body, sense the shape of him in the dark. The silence stretched, thick and uncomfortable. Then he whispered, "Not yet." He said that. His voice was soft, gentle, almost loving. My chest tightened. Those two words did not sound dangerous on their own, but they landed inside me like a warning. Not yet meant something was coming. Not yet meant there was a plan. He took a slow breath and whispered again, "She doesn't know." I felt something cold move through me. My mind tried to reject what my ears were hearing. I wanted to believe he was dreaming, that this was some kind of sleep talk. But his voice was clear, awake, intentional. He leaned a little closer, and I could feel his breath near my face. "I'm trying," he whispered. "I'm doing it the right way." My thoughts raced, but my body stayed still. I told myself not to panic. Panic would make me move. Panic would reveal that I was awake. Who was he talking to? There was no one else in the room. No phone, no light. Just my husband standing over me in the dark, speaking to someone I could not see. He paused, as if listening. "Yes," he whispered. "Every night." A deep sense of dread settled into my bones. Every night. The words confirmed what my body already knew, but my mind had refused to accept. Marcus sighed, a sound filled with emotion, not anger, not frustration. Something closer to devotion. "I won't rush it," he said softly. "She trusts me." That sentence broke something inside me. Trust. He spoke the word like it was a tool, something to be used carefully. I felt tears gather behind my closed eyes, but I forced them back. I could not afford to cry. Not yet. I lay there, frozen, while my husband whispered fragments of a conversation I was never meant to hear. "She's gentle," he continued. "She won't fight it." "Fight what?" My stomach twisted. My thoughts spiraled, trying to fill in the blanks. Every possibility felt worse than the last. Marcus straightened slightly and took another breath. "I'm being patient," he said. "Just like you said there was someone else. Someone he was answering to. Someone who knew about me. Someone who knew about the nights." I felt small in that moment. Smaller than I had ever felt in my own bed. The place I had believed was safest now felt like a stage where I was the only one who did not know the script. Marcus fell silent again. I listened carefully, afraid that even my breathing might betray me. After a long pause, he whispered one final sentence. "Soon." That word echoed inside my mind, louder than anything he had said before. Soon meant time was running out. Marcus stepped back. I felt the mattress shift as he returned to bed. Within minutes, his breathing slowed, steady and calm, like a man who had unburdened himself. I did not sleep at all. I lay there until morning, staring into darkness, replaying every word he had spoken. My mind tried to make sense of it, but nothing fit neatly. There was no clear threat, no obvious crime, just a quiet, terrifying intention. When morning came, I moved slowly, carefully. I watched Marcus as he woke up, as if I were seeing him for the first time. He smiled at me. He asked if I slept well. Yes, I lied. The word tasted bitter in my mouth. That day, I went through my routine like a stranger in my own life. I washed dishes, I folded laundry, I answered messages from friends. All the while, my mind was elsewhere, replaying the whispers. She trusts me. Those words hurt more than fear ever could. They told me my love, my patience, my silence had been turned against me. I began to watch Marcus the way he had been watching me. I paid attention to small details I had ignored before. His phone always locked. His habit of stepping outside to take calls. The way he avoided eye contact when I asked the simple questions. I searched the house quietly, carefully while he was at work. Drawers, cabinets, closets. I told myself I was looking for proof, but I did not know what proof would look like. I found nothing obvious. No letters, no strange objects. No evidence of another person. That almost made it worse. The second night after the whispers, Marcus stood by the bed again. He did not speak this time, but I could feel his attention on me heavier than before. I realized then that pretending to sleep was no longer enough. Whatever was happening was moving forward. Soon, he had said, fear sharpened my thoughts. I started planning quietly. I kept my phone close. I memorized emergency numbers. I told myself to stay calm, to stay observant. I thought about leaving, packing a bag, going to my sister's house, but something held me back. I needed to understand. I needed to know what he meant before I ran. On the third night, he whispered again. Almost, he said. She's ready. My body trembled, but I did not move. The next day, I confronted myself with a hard truth. I was no longer safe in my ignorance. Love had become something dangerous. Silence had become a threat. I decided to test him. That evening, I told Marcus I had not been sleeping well. I told him I felt watched at night. I watched his face carefully as I spoke. For the briefest moment, something flickered in his eyes. Surprise, then calm. You're probably just stressed, he said gently. You've been worrying too much. His answer was smooth, practiced. That was when I understood. He knew exactly what he was doing. That night, I pretended to fall asleep earlier than usual. I wanted him to believe everything was the same. I needed him to underestimate me. When he stood beside the bed, he did not whisper. He only sighed like a man satisfied with progress. I stayed still, but inside, I made a decision. Whatever Marcus was planning, I would not let it happen in the dark. I would not be silent anymore. Even if the truth destroyed my marriage, my image of him, or my sense of safety, I needed it in the light. The moment I heard my husband whisper to someone who was not there, my marriage ended quietly. Long before either of us said it out loud. I did not know yet how I would escape, or what truth I would uncover, but I knew one thing for certain. If I stayed silent much longer, I might never get another chance to speak at all. After the night, I heard Marcus whisper, soon, something inside me finally settled. Not peace, not relief, but clarity. When fear stops shaking your hands, it means your heart has chosen survival. I stopped waiting for courage to arrive. I understood that courage was not coming as a feeling. It would come as an action, quiet and careful, the same way fear had entered my life. The morning after that night, I woke before Marcus and went to the bathroom. I locked the door and sat on the edge of the tub, pressing my hands together to stop them from trembling. I looked at my reflection and barely recognized myself. My eyes looked older, sharper, like someone who had seen something she could not unsee. I whispered my own name out loud, Angela. I needed to hear it. I needed to remind myself that I was real, that I still existed outside of his silence and plans. That day, I made my first quiet move. I called my sister during my lunch break. I did not tell her everything. I did not know how. I only said I had not been sleeping well, and that something felt wrong at home. She listened carefully and told me I could come stay with her anytime. Knowing I had somewhere to go felt like air entering my lungs after being underwater too long at home. I began to live differently. I stopped filling silences. I stopped explaining myself. I watched Marcus with a calm distance that surprised even me. He noticed the change, but he did not question it. He seemed almost relieved. I started writing things down, dates, times, words he whispered, small behaviors that no longer felt small. I hid the notebook in my purse and kept it with me at all times. Writing made things real. It anchored my thoughts when my mind tried to drift back into denial. Nights were still the hardest. Marcus continued standing beside the bed, but I changed my behavior slightly. I shifted in my sleep. I sighed. I let him think I was restless, not alert. I needed him to believe he still had control. One night, instead of whispering, he reached out and brushed his fingers lightly against my hair. The touch was gentle, almost affectionate, but my body reacted with quiet panic. I forced myself not to flinch. "She's calm," he whispered. "She's trusting." That was when I understood something important. Whatever he was planning did not involve violence the way people imagine it. It involved consent without knowledge, obedience without understanding. He was not trying to scare me. He was trying to prepare me. That realization chilled me more deeply than anger ever could. Began researching quietly at the library and on my phone when Marcus was not around. I searched for signs of emotional manipulation, control masked as care, long-term psychological conditioning. Each description felt uncomfortably familiar. I learned that some dangers do not look like threats. They look like patience. The next step came naturally. I told Marcus I wanted to visit my sister for a few days. I said I needed rest. I watched his face carefully as I spoke. He hesitated. Just for a second. "Of course," he said. "If that's what you need." That hesitation told me everything. He had not planned for me to leave. Not yet. I packed slowly, deliberately. I took only essentials, clothes, documents, my notebook. I left everything else behind without emotion. Things can be replaced. Safety cannot dot at my sister's house. I finally slept. Not deeply, but without someone standing over me. That alone felt like healing. Over the next few days, I spoke to a counselor recommended by a friend. I told my story in fragments, testing the words as they left my mouth. Saying them out loud made them heavier, but also clearer. She did not interrupt. She did not rush me. When I finished, she said something I will never forget. "Angela, the most dangerous part is not what he plans. It's how long you were taught not to question him." I cried then. Not loudly, just quietly, the way I had learned to do everything with guidance. I began setting boundaries. I stopped answering Marcus's calls immediately. I told him I needed time. His messages grew more frequent but stayed calm, loving, concerned. "You're safe with me," he wrote once. I did not reply. Eventually, I agreed to meet him in a public place. A cafe, daylight, people around. He looked tired. "Smaller somehow. I don't understand," he said softly. "You've changed." "Yes," I replied. "I have." I told him I knew about the whispers. I told him I knew he had been planning something without my consent. I did not accuse. I did not raise my voice. His face went pale. "You weren't supposed to hear that," he said quietly. That was his confession. I stood up. I told him I was leaving, permanently. I told him not to contact me again except through legal channels. My voice did not shake. Walking away from that table felt like stepping into sunlight after months underground. The separation was not dramatic. No shouting, no scenes, just paperwork, distance, and time. Marcus never tried to explain himself fully. Perhaps he could not. Perhaps control only works in silence. I moved into my own small apartment. I filled it slowly with things that felt like me: plants, soft light, music I chose. Some nights, fear still visits me. Trauma does not disappear just because danger leaves, but I remind myself that I listened when it mattered. I learned that love without transparency is not love. It is a quiet cage. I survived not because I fought loudly, but because I finally trusted my fear enough to listen, and in the end, that fear taught me how to live again, even now. I still wake up some nights just before 2 in the morning. My body remembers what my mind is slowly learning to release. Trauma does not leave all at once. It loosens its grip a little at a time, like a shadow retreating when the sun rises. In my new home, silence feels different. It is no longer heavy or threatening. It is gentle. It belongs to me. When I lie in bed now, there is no fear of someone standing beside me in the dark. There is only my own breathing, steady and real. I spent many months asking myself how I did not see the signs sooner. I replayed old conversations, old moments, wondering where I could have spoken up earlier. But I have learned that blaming myself only keeps me tied to the past. Understanding is kinder than judgment. I understand now that I was taught to value peace more than truth. I was taught that endurance was love. No one ever taught me that love should feel safe, even when you are not looking. Leaving Marcus did not make me strong overnight. Strength came later, quietly, as I rebuilt my life piece by piece. It came when I chose what music to play, what food to cook, and when to turn off the lights. Small choices became acts of healing. Some people asked me why I left a man who never raised his voice, never hit me, never shouted. I learned that harm does not always come with noise. Sometimes it comes with patience, planning, and silence. I still believe in love. That belief survived because I protected it. I believe love is honest. I believe love does not require secrecy to survive. I believe love never needs darkness to grow. If you are listening to my story and something inside you feels uneasy, please listen to that feeling. Fear is not always a warning of danger outside. Sometimes it is a signal that your boundaries are being crossed quietly. You do not need proof to protect yourself. You do not need permission to leave what feels wrong. You only need to trust that your life is worth clarity. I am Angela Brown, and I learned that survival does not always look like running. Sometimes it looks like staying still long enough to understand, then walking away without noise. Tonight, when I close my eyes, I do so without pretending. And that, after everything, feels like freedom. Peace is not the absence of conflict. Peace is the presence of safety.